Alrighty, and welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we are going to be talking about Cake Bake. Cake Bake in the Disney Boardwalk area. Yes. So I'm excited to talk about Cake Bake today. So Cake Bake is a restaurant that's located at the Disney Boardwalk Resort area, I would say. So it's kind of between where Disney's Boardwalk Resort is, and as you're walking into Epcot, that's where it is. It was formerly the ESPN Center, so it was like a bar basically. Yeah, but Cake Bake came over to the area a few years ago, and so we ate there a few months ago now, so I thought it'd be fun to review it.
Yep, we decided to try it.
So where did Cake Bake start? Now, this was a huge phenomenon in the U.S. Now, I had actually never heard of it until it was coming to Disney.
Until it was coming to Disney, yeah.
But I know it was very famous beforehand. So if you go onto the cakebakeshop.com and then onto their Our Story page, it is a long page filled with the in-detail story of how Gwendolyn Rogers created Cake Bake. It is honestly very interesting when you go through the whole story. She was already in her 40s when she initially started Cake Bake, so I would say very entrepreneurial, very inspiring story when you really start from the beginning. But she was always a baker from the start. She then, had a photography, business and stuff like that. She moved around a lot. Then she ended up going back to where she was from in Idaho, and then she started just baking out of her kitchen like I think a lot of amateur bakers start for the most part, and then eventually, getting the loans and the investment to start opening up the full business. It was one of those things where I think you need to have the drive, the passion, but also that business sense to know how to grow a business and scale a business. Because it did just start off as that, just as cakes and just cakes and cupcakes and pies, and then it became a full-on restaurant, right? So it's like not everyone has that vision to create something like that, but she did, and it's quite inspiring. It's very interesting. But where we are going to pick up is when she got down to Florida. So again, she started over in Indiana, and then she got down to Florida, and she had said that she had always been a big Disney person. She always loved Disney, and then as her business in a general sense was growing, she was on Oprah. She was being named in like every chef magazine and everything, being one of the top things. A lot of her recipes were being some of the top recipes in the country by all these famous chefs and people on Food Network and stuff like that. So she decided to start growing a little bit, and she built a warehouse in Kissimmee, Florida. So this warehouse was going to be where they were going to, again, scale up the actual baking of their items so they could send them out to different, restaurants and bakeries and things like that, like supermarkets for the most part, but then also have the business side, like the admin side on the back end as well too. So it says, according to the story, that she personally oversaw the construction of this 32,000 square foot production house. Again, she kind of just brought the entire vision to life over time. Again, it took a couple years, of course. She relocated her family to Florida so she could oversee this whole project as well too. And again, she had a lot of people that she was working very closely with while this whole construction project was going on. Again, she has full detail on her website. She really shares the whole thing, which I think is really great actually, because I know for whenever you're trying to start off with a business or whenever you're trying to start off with an idea, it's hard to know where to start or what steps you need to take or what things you should do. Again, she really spells it out for anyone who's really trying to start their own bakery business. Now, where did Disney come into play? So it actually kind of started during COVID, funny enough. So she was actually supplying some of her cakes to the Disney's Boardwalk Resort just to sell in their own bakery multiple times a day, because again, she had that warehouse in Kissimmee, so she was just selling her cakes through them. And during COVID, she needed to get special refrigerated trucks to carry the cakes properly over. That was also fully, clean, right? It's like your COVID, everything has to be much more wiped down, much more clean, much more sanitary than it was even before. Not saying they weren't sanitary before, of course, but just saying
but everybody
even more
was keeping
so,
a very close eye.
Yeah, even more so. So she said that it was due to her overcoming all of these logistical hurdles and the timing, everything, and building that operational foundation with Disney just through this dropping off the cakes, that it started that conversation to actually build a partnership with Disney. So when ESPN ended their contract basically with Disney, she worked with them to start her own idea. So that is when she came in, and they had the full plans, all of the architects, the designers, the contractors, the electricians. Again, she came all the way down to Florida from Indiana to start this, and it took over 2.5 years for her being on site to build what Cake Bake is today. And she did a lot of the hands-on demolition and designing of it as well too. So for instance, all the chandeliers that in the restaurant, she helped hang personally all of the chandeliers. A lot of that intricate detail in gold that you see written on, on the outside of the restaurant and everything, she helped paint all of those items to be gold. She helped design all of that herself, because she's a baker, so she can do icing and stuff like that. So all of this is her designs of how she created and saw that vision coming to life. So she was very involved in the entire project, which is really cool to see, because I honestly just never thought about it, if I'm being quite honest.
You don't think about who's behind it.
Yeah, right? Never thought about that. The owner of the Cake Bake was really involved in building Cake Bake. Again, just one of those things that sometimes you just go to eat at a place and you just don't really think about it. You're just there to enjoy it. So all right, so let's get a little bit more into the Cake Bake lore. So in Cake Bake, again, is based off the New Orleans French French-themed cuisine, so that is where it's from. She had lived for a time in New Orleans. That's where that love of that type of food came from. And in there as well, too, that's where the aesthetic sort of came from as well. So the aesthetic of that very, I would say, feminine, the pastel pinks, the French blues, the very light colors, everything's white, everything's crystallized, everything has, Christmas lights everywhere, the fairy lights everywhere. So when she initially opened up her first location, she had said that she would bring her own decorations from her house to the bakery to set everything up. And she would hand set up all the Christmas trees and all the Valentine's Day decor, Easter decor, everything herself, because that's just what she loved to do. So she was just doing what she loved to do. Again, that's an extension just of her own personal interests, which I think, again, is also very interesting and really fun. So when we went to Cake Bake, we went for dinner. So we ended up getting dinner reservations. Now we do want to go for breakfast one day too, because the breakfast menu also looks really great.
Oh, yeah, it looks good. And I love the atmosphere.
I know, right? So we are, and they do also have a special like Roses of Gold afternoon tea pricing where you can get like the afternoon tea, right? So they do afternoon tea as well too. And when we're filming this is around Mother's Day. So they do have a special Mother's Day high afternoon tea thing going on as well too, just for Mother's Day. So it's fun to see that they do have a lot of special things always going around year round for the most part. So, all right, so let's start off when we went to Cake Bake. So we went for dinner. So because it's not in the Disney parks themselves, you can get reservations for Cake Bake on Open Table, I think it was, which makes it a lot easier.
Table, one of them. It's one of the outside.
Yeah, one of those things. I think it has to be Open Table because they were named like one of the best dining brunch spots on Open Table. So I'm assuming it's Open Table. But
whenever I can get them outside Disney, I do.
Yeah, it just makes it a little bit convenient when you're trying to cancel things, because with Disney you still have to cancel 2 hours in advance or else you get charged. But with Open Table you don't have to do that, which is just kind of convenient. So, but all right, so when we went for dinner, we started off with some hors d'oeuvres. So what was the first hors d'oeuvre that we had ordered? My dad got the avocado stack. The avocado stack has crumpled goat cheese, shallots, tomatoes, and balsamic pearls served with balsamic reduction, olive oil, and toasted French baguette for $22.
It was really pretty.
It was really pretty. It's funny because in theory, I feel like I would really like this, but I'm glad I didn't get it because I do not like goat cheese that much.
Yeah, you don't
and
like
the way
cheese.
that they serve it, it does have a decent amount of goat cheese. Yes. I think even if you got it
was a nice little serving on that plate. But
yeah, I feel like even if you got it without the goat cheese, it would have been tricky to not, it wouldn't have been the same, I think.
No, it would have been the same.
Goat cheese. So
goat cheese kind of held it together.
We also got the truffle palms frites, which is basically just like truffle French fries. This has truffle oil, smoked sea salt. I didn't know if it was smoked, thyme, and Parmesan cheese, and it's served with a homemade garlic aioli. And this was for $19. Again, really great French fries, I would say overall. I'd also say too, at this point, they will also give you their bread service. So their bread comes very warm. I would say almost too warm, a little hot.
A French baguette.
The French baguette it comes with like this really warm butter as well too. This whipped
salted butter.
Now I'll say they give you a lot of this, which is kind of surprising because I feel like some restaurants they don't want to give you too much bread because if you fill up a bread, they're not
give you bread with every course.
Yeah, every course we were getting bread.
With a half a bread.
We were getting so much bread. I was like, this is more bread than I've ever had in my life.
We ate it all.
We did. It was very good bread. So it was very good.
Yes.
So all right. So then for salads, my mom got the lemon Caesar salad. This is romaine.
Delicious.
Yeah, this is romaine lettuce, homemade croutons, creamy lemon Caesar dressing, and Parmesan cheese. Is served with a toasted French baguette, and then you can also add some add-ons such as chicken, breaded chicken, salmon, shrimp, and lump crab. And this is for $25.
It was good.
Yeah, I tasted it too.
I got the plain salad, but it was good. It was very, very good. Very tasty, very fresh. Like I said, I loved it.
And you said that you were glad you didn't add any other proteins onto it, right?
No, I didn't need it. I did. Well, I'm not a big add that kind of because I was going to have dinner too, so I kind of had that as my appetizer. So yeah, I didn't put any protein on it, but I got to tell you, the salad itself was one of the best Caesar salads I've had in a long time.
Yeah, no, it was.
And I do love that little lemon taste. I mean, I'm very up on that, like that little bit of tangy lemon taste.
I do. I do love some.
It was very fresh, very good. It was a nice size Caesar salad too, because when you say French restaurant, you think you're going to get this little tiny little portion, but because it's New Orleans French, they do not skimp, like you said, on the bread or on the portions.
No, that's for sure. All right, so then for dinner, my mom got the angel hair pomodoro. This is tomato and fresh herb pomodoro, Parmesan and fresh basil, served with a toasted half French baguette. Everything is coming with this half French baguette for $25. So what did you think of your pasta?
It was funny because people told me that it was when you read the reviews about it, it was very, very spicy. And I didn't want anything I didn't want meat. I didn't want anything like that. I just wanted some simple dinner. So I said, all right, I'll get the pomodoro because they said it's spicy and I love spicy. And I even told them to make it spicy. It was not spicy. It came out, it was not spicy. It was very good. It was a very big portion. I couldn't even finish it at that point. I mean, obviously between the salad and the bread and everything else, I couldn't finish it. But it was very good. but not spicy. So, I mean, a lot of people said, oh my God, it's so spicy, be careful. It was not spicy at all. And if you don't want it spicy, you can kind of tell them, don't make it spicy.
Yeah, and again, I tasted a little bit of my mom's pasta as well too. It was so good. It's served in this like little baby mountain almost.
Yes, it was like a mountain of pasta.
I'm looking at a photo of it now.
Yeah.
So it served this little mountain with the sauce all around it. It was so good. And normally I don't really like angel hair pasta. I would say this pasta is more of like a thin spaghetti pasta than angel hair.
Yeah, it was more like thin spaghetti.
Yeah, because I've had some angel hairs where I'm like,
it's so thin.
I would never eat that again. I don't really like angel hair pasta. It is definitely not my favorite. So for my entree, I actually had the soup of the day. I'm forgetting exactly what the soup of the day was called, but it was a broccoli-based soup. It wasn't a broccoli cheddar, and it was not a cream of broccoli, but it had broccoli in it. Yes. That's for sure. It had broccoli in it. Also, like the pasta, there was definitely a kick to it. Now, it was not a red pepper kick to it. It was more of like a very heavy black pepper kick to it, but it definitely had a kick. I did think it was very good though. Now, I chose to get the soup of the day was because we knew we were going to get dessert, if I'm being honest. So that was a big thing. I was definitely going to get dessert, so I didn't want to go too heavy, and we did eat all those French fries. And I love French fries. Everyone knows that. I definitely am a big French fry person. So anyway though, so we had that, and then my dad, I did not take a photo of what my dad had. So I don't know why I didn't do that. What do you think Dad had? Did Dad have the croque madame, the country bread with French ham? No, he definitely didn't have that. French ham, Gruyere cheese.
He had fish.
Dijon mustard. Did he have the grilled salmon sandwich?
Yes.
Grilled salmon sandwich served warm on a soft brioche bun, fresh basil, and our homemade basil aioli served with an arugula salad. You can get a gluten-free bun for additional $2, and that was $36. What
he had the salmon.
But there was also a roasted salmon fillet. Did he have the fillet?
He may have gotten that. I was gonna say. He had salmon. I can tell you that.
I don't know why
much.
I didn't take a photo of my dad's today.
We were too busy enjoying ours.
Yeah, so the roasted salmon fillet.
He had salmon. He could have had the roasted salmon.
Yeah, this is a fresh Atlantic salmon fillet finished with a lemon dill creme fraiche, served with fingerling, potatoes, and roasted asparagus for $14.
I think he got the roasted salmon.
Roasted salmon. Yeah, I didn't take a photo. I think the main reason why I don't have a photo is because we went in the evening, the sun had set, so all of the photos look bad. It's partially why I've never posted any of them, was because the lighting was really hard in the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So the restaurant itself is very pretty at night, but for photos and videos, it wasn't very
good. Wasn't conducive to pictures. Well, he definitely had the salmon. I would say that he had the salmon, roasted salmon, not the salmon sandwich.
No, for sure. But again, also very good. I know. I would say my dad's pretty easy to please, though. Yes. I don't think he's not really one where he's ever had something where he's like, this is horrible. No, I don't really like this.
Everything's good.
Yeah, for the most part, my dad kind of likes all food, but my dad's definitely more of a fish eater overall.
Yes, he usually orders the fish.
I know
or
he
a
definitely
pork
like
chop.
that. So, all right, and then we had our dessert. So for dessert, this is what we were waiting for. So we debated for a while, honestly, what we were going to get for dessert because we didn't know. So we looked at all the cakes. We were like, which cake should we get? But they also had a special pie. They had a blueberry pie. It was like the flavor pie of the month. And me and my dad actually both really love blueberry pie. So my dad said he wanted the blueberry pie. So he got the blueberry pie. And then we decided, like, all right, which cake are we going to share? And we figured it's like whatever cake we get, because they're so massive, we'll just bring with us. Because we were there on the earlier part of our trip. So we figured we'll just bring it with us afterwards.
Right, we'll bring it back to the hotel.
So we debated for a while which cake we were going to get. And we ended up picking the Millionaire cake. The Millionaire cake is a Valrhona French chocolate cake filled with Callebaut Belgian chocolate ganache, homemade salted caramel sauce, vanilla buttercream, and homemade butter shortbread cookies, topped with Callebaut Belgian chocolate fudge, shortbread, and salted caramel sauce. So a lot going on in the Millionaire cake, that's for sure. It is all also decorated with edible glitter, so it's very glittery. When you look at it, it's all glittery. There's a lot of glitter.
A lot of glitter around
now.
This
a lot of
restaurant.
glitter.
Yes.
It was so good, honestly.
Oh my God.
It was so good. I actually think one of the best parts of it was those shortbread cookies that were like crumbled up inside the cake. I thought
whatever it was,
really
that
good.
Cake was, I mean, Daddy helped a little bit, but we finished that
we
cake
ended
off.
up finishing the whole cake. We thought we were going to have to bring
the
the cake
blueberry
home.
pie back to the...
Yeah, we thought we were going to have to bring the cake home. We didn't. We ate the whole cake. We did bring some of the pie home. My dad only had a little bit of the pie, honestly.
Yes.
But we ate the whole thing, and we were not expecting to eat the whole thing.
No.
Now, again, that was 3 adults eating this cake.
Yes.
Because it is a large piece of cake,
Yes.
so for 3 adults to eat it. And I would argue 3 adults, whereas like my mom's not a big sweets eater, so like one adult doesn't even eat a lot of sweets.
No.
So I would say if you're going to share the cake, I would say at least 2 people could definitely share if you're both big
but
sweets
even 3
eaters.
people. I thought 3 people was okay.
Yeah, but I think 3 is pretty good, especially if you're planning on.
Especially if you've just had a whole big meal with lots of bread and butter. It was a big meal.
For sure.
Because everything was so good. You know, like I said, I didn't finish my pasta because I knew we wanted to get dessert and I wanted to try it. So I didn't even finish my pasta. I didn't bother taking it with me, but I didn't finish my pasta because they do give you a big portion.
Yeah, the portion sizes are pretty good. When we were there as well too, almost everyone around us was celebrating something.
Yes, it was a weekend night. I think it was a Saturday night or Sunday night or whatever. And It's a beautiful, fancy restaurant. And they did have a lot of people celebrating some kind of anniversaries or birthdays or whatever around us.
They're like graduations. So almost everyone around us, there's the table that was to the right of us. They were celebrating a little girl's birthday. Also, when you're sitting there, there's a lot of booth seating kind of, and all the booths have these pillows, these big pink pillows that you're sitting in, which I thought was very cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, one was celebrating a little girl's birthday. Another was celebrating someone's graduation. Another was a birthday. Then behind us was another birthday.
Right.
And there's this room that's kind of in this like pergola where it has this big chandelier in the center as well too. So it's like it could sit like 10 people.
We were sitting on the edge of the pergola, on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know they were definitely celebrating as well too. And for the birthdays, they bring over this little dragon plushie, and his name is Brûlé. And they said that Brûlé every morning flies around the restaurant. He lights all the candles in the chandeliers for the day. But then if you're having your birthday, Brûlé will also light the little candle on your cake too before they sing you for your birthday as well, which is very cute. Yeah. You can also purchase a little Brûlé as well to bring home with you.
You can purchase it yourself if you want for big bucks.
Yeah, but I thought that was just really cute because I like that everything has that little fun, whimsical story.
Yeah, it's got that whimsical. It's got that whimsical feel as soon as you walk in. Let's say that they also do have a room that has a bar in it. It has a very nice. It's all glass. Like you can see where you're sitting. You can see through the glass that the bar is on the other side of that like glass wall. But it's a very beautiful bar. Long bar where they have, stools along it and stuff. And I got to tell you, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So you're eating all this good food and then you've got all this great atmosphere around you.
Yeah, no, I would say, again, it's very, very feminine, I would say. And it's just so pretty. If you're into that aesthetic, it's just so pretty and so fun for the most part. Like, I definitely had a good time when we were there. I'm looking at their menu right now and I'm trying to find, we just did our episode on the most expensive items in Epcot. So trying to find the most expensive item.
What's the most expensive one on this item?
The most expensive one looks like it's kind of cheating. It's the Dom Perignon. So the champagne. You can get a glass of Dom Perignon for $95 or the bottle for $575.
I'm not surprised. It was funny because when they were first going to put this up and they took ESPN Zone out. We used to go to the ESPN Zone every once in a while because it was, especially if you were over by the Boardwalk or whatever, because it was hamburgers and chicken fingers and you were kids and it was fun and there was always some kind of sports on the TV and lots of music playing. And, when it was a sports season, the line was out the door to get in there. When they said they were taking that down and putting up Cake Bake, you first started looking at Cake Bake and saying, oh my God, who's going to eat there? That's like fancy. That's expensive. That's this, that's that. It's going to be a French restaurant, like some people really love French food. I'm not a big French food eater. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be a French restaurant. Well, I got to tell you, when we first went into their shop, do you remember going into the first shop the first time?
Yeah. They have a bakery and a shop next door to the restaurant, and you don't have to go into the restaurant to go into the bakery and shop.
No. And the stuffed animals, the boxes of tea, the little hats or little things that they had that they were selling was so expensive. I mean, they were expensive for what they were. And I'm like, okay, well, what is the food going to be like? Whatever. But, as you looked at the food and you looked what they were serving and what the prices were, and like I said, we just did a thing where what they charge you to eat in Disney. I don't think that in Disney, this restaurant is any more expensive than the other nice signature dining restaurants. I think for the price and for the money and for the service and for what they gave you, I thought it was an excellent restaurant. And I was pleasantly surprised because I thought it was going to be like a little bit more expensive than going to like one of the regular restaurants or whatever. And the food was outrageous.
Yeah, because I remember when they first announced Cake Bake and the menu and prices came out, there was a lot of outrage at how expensive it was. For instance, I remember they were going to charge $16 for a children's menu peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yes. And people were like, that's crazy. Like, that's a little bit too much, honestly. So they did reduce the prices down overall on the menu by a little bit. So now their PB&J sandwich is $14, which is still a lot for a PB&J.
Right.
But at the same time, like you said, I think in Disney, it's like these are Disney prices to a certain extent.
I think it's perception. When people saw $16 for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, okay, they're going to say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But you're paying, like I said, just like the Japanese restaurant that we talked about in the last episode, you're paying for the experience, first of all. You're going to a restaurant that's high, like a beautiful restaurant with all this amenities. The service is top notch. Yes, they reduced the prices so people were a little bit more. And I don't think people, when they heard French restaurant and they heard the prices and they saw the menu, I think in their minds, they're thinking, you're going to go get this little tiny portion and they're going to charge you all this money. We've got all these kids that have to eat and then we're going to be buying them something else because they're going to be hungry. I was at a French restaurant in Cape Cod just recently where I have to tell you, it was twice the price of Cake Bake. And it was not a lot of food. Okay, it was not a lot of food.
Again, this is New Orleans French food.
Yes,
which is
that's
a
the
little different.
difference.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize what they're serving you and what they're giving you. The prices, they're in line with every other Disney restaurant as far as I'm concerned. And it was a very nice
especially if you go to
experience.
some of the more expensive Disney
Yes.
restaurants like Les Cellier or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Yes.
thought it was really good. So that's where we want to go back for that breakfast.
I would
lunch.
like to go back
because
and
they're
get
actually
breakfast.
named more like what all the awards like on their website. They have many awards on this website.
It's all
that's
for
sure.
breakfast.
Yeah, it's all for their breakfast and brunch. So let's look at the brunch menu real quick, and we'll pick what.
And
we're
that's the
gonna get
one
right
time
now.
I'm going to go and get carbs. Because usually when I go to a breakfast menu, I'm usually eating eggs or, something that's not all carbs. I'm not a big carb eater to begin with.
Dude, the breakfast is hard though because they have like all the waffles and the French toast, but you can still get like, well, what if I just want a piece of cake? I don't know. So it's
Well, can't
like-
you get cake?
Again, you still can.
Oh,
They do
yeah.
have a mushroom parmesan quiche, which sounds pretty good.
Okay.
They
So you can get a
have-
piece of quiche and a piece of cake.
They have a ham, rosemary, and goat cheese quiche as
Yeah,
well
see?
too.
I'm telling you, their stuff looks really good, sounds really good. And if you want a piece of cake, have a piece of cake.
No, I feel like I probably would get one of the French toasts or the waffles or something like that. They have a chocolate chip Belgian waffle that looks.
I
really
think it's
fun.
also very pretty to have breakfast in a place like
It is.
that.
It's very pretty. It feels very fancy. Sometimes you want to go someplace that is fancy.
Yeah. What we've taken to doing is when we go into Epcot now, we go over to the boardwalk and eat in one of those restaurants and have a nice breakfast, and then walk into the park because we're not in a hurry to rope drop. We're not in a hurry to do any of that. So, we find that going to a nice restaurant and sitting and having a nice breakfast just starts off the day.
I do love on this menu, it has breakfast cakes.
See?
So on the breakfast cakes, you have the all butter mini pound cake served warm for $9. They also have a blueberry crumb cake also for $9. And the blueberry crumb cake says it was featured on Oprah's Favorite Things 2019. So
Sure.
that's so specific. I didn't even know Oprah had a Favorite Things.
Yeah, I could see Daddy getting that with his eggs.
I probably get that too. That sounds really good because I love crumb cake and I do like blueberries.
Yeah, I think the
so-
next time when we go, I think we should go to Cake Bake before we go to Epcot. Just because we are trying to go to all different places now. I'm trying to check out some different places when we go down.
No,
so
for
I think
sure.
that's going to be one of the new places we're going to go for breakfast.
All right, so yeah, that is our review of Cake Bake. Again, we both really liked the restaurant overall. I think again,
I
it's
would
definitely a
recommend
pricey restaurant, and also too again, especially if you're celebrating something like if you live locally.
Oh,
you're like,
definitely.
oh, it's too expensive for me because I live locally. But if you're celebrating something, we have friends who live down there who live locally, and I think they did go for like an anniversary or birthday. They said they loved it. They said it was so great.
I think they went on New
there-
Year's Eve, actually.
Yeah,
they
they
said
went
they
there
had an
before-
early dinner on New Year's Eve and then
Oh, wow.
walked over to see the fireworks from Epcot, without
Because
going
I remember
in the park.
they went there before us and they were raving about it. And we
Yes.
were surprised at first because we thought maybe they wouldn't like it because it was so expensive and they
Yeah.
live local. So like, oh, we don't want to spend the money when,
Right.
we can go anywhere we want in Florida. But when we heard their good review, we were like, well, we're definitely going to check it out.
Yeah,
for
we'll go
sure.
check it out. And they said it was so beautiful because especially at Christmas time, they had all outside all lit up, like all the lights and all the things. But even when you go, we went and it wasn't Christmas.
It was all lit
and
up.
it was
It
still
so
all lit
pretty.
up and
Yeah,
beautiful.
So pretty and fun. So
Yeah, it has a nice atmosphere. Like I said, a lot of times we go to the restaurants for the experience, not just the food.
yeah, for sure. Because it's a whole, your atmosphere matters more too. It creates that, the ambiance of how you
Right.
want to be eating.
Right,
your
how you
food.
want to
So-
eat. Right.
All right, so before we get to our Disney memory, we're just going to end on Disney quote today. So our quote today is, "What I say is true. Anyone can cook, but only the fearless can be great." So I thought this was a great quote just because, again, just thinking of the story of how Gwendolyn Rogers created
Right,
this,
how
that
she
she was
did
quite the
this.
entrepreneur,
I
took a
know.
lot of risks,
Believed
took a lot
in
of loans. I
herself.
was going to say, took a lot of
Especially
loans
during
out.
COVID.
During COVID with 3 children as well, too, took a lot of risk and everything. But again, she being that fearless entrepreneur, again, very inspiring when you look into the full story. I'll have it linked in the description of this podcast episode, too.
Now my mind's running because I'm trying to
said
figure
this
out what
quote?
movie has to. Is it in Ratatouille?
It is in Ratatouille, yes.
See, all right, I got the menu right.
So-
it's not the chef, is it?
It's said by Gusto. Yeah,
Okay,
the chef, the
Chef
famous
Gusteau. I
chef.
couldn't
Yeah.
remember his name. Okay. Oh, see, I got it. My mind was running, going, okay, what movie would be talking about cooking that great? And then, okay, I got it right. Okay.
All right, and then we'll end, of course, on our Disney memory. Do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
No, I think the memory was just going to Cake Bake. I think the memory of just going to Cake Bake and seeing how beautiful it was and enjoying the dinner and stuff was enough.
Yeah, same here. Again, I did really love Cake Bake, and I will say I actually never went to ESPN. So it was one thing when we
You were a
said
kid.
too about ESPN that it's one of the few places where there was a bar with a TV so that you could go and watch. Like if there's a game
especially
going on.
when people wanted to watch sports. In Disney, there's no TVs.
Yeah, there's not that many TVs to watch sports. And when we went that night, actually, it was in January and it was playoffs night. And I remember we were we were sitting there and towards the end of the night, I was like, wait, weren't we supposed to check on the score? And we ended up watching part of the game live from Cake Bake.
Cake Bake.
The irony of watching a game live from Cake Bake when it used to be ESPN because we wanted to know.
Yeah.
And now even to that other restaurant that's on the boardwalk, that Riverside Big River Grill or something like that.
Yes.
That's been closed for a while now too. And that was another spot spot that had some TVs in a bar
TVs
where you
in
could
it,
watch a
right.
game. So yeah, so again, Cake Bake does have a bar, and I think they did have a TV in
They
the
may
bar.
have one small TV
It was a
in
small
there.
TV. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a sports bar where you go
No,
watch a
it's
game.
not a place. It's not a
but-
place you're going to go watch sports.
Yeah, but if you're looking,
Right.
maybe it's like you know maybe if there is a big game on, I'm sure they'd have
big
the
game
big
you're at
games
least
on or
keeping track
something.
of. Yeah, the Packers were playing on the night we were there, whatever was going on, I think, and we were interested in the playoffs. But I think that you were only in ESPN when you were very young. And like I said, when you have young kids, ESPN was a great place because it wasn't super expensive. And it was that kind of food, you know, the kids were going to want to eat, that they weren't going to look at the menu and go, what am I going to eat? So it was a good place to go. But I have to tell you, don't miss it now because I really think Cake Bake is a really nice restaurant.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting to see what they're going to do with the rest of the boardwalk.
But all right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you let us know. What do you think of Cake Bake? Have you been there before? Let us know. Leave us a comment if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure you follow us on social media. Almost Amanda X. Everything will be linked in the description. And again, I will link the our story of the Cake Bake restaurant in the description, as well as the Disney menu from the Disney World website as well too. So you can kind of test out what are you going to order when you go to Cake
Get the
Bake.
Millionaire's Cake. It's so good.
It's like, maybe you need to budget a little bit or something like that. Because again, it is a little bit more of a pricier restaurant, but again, a lot of things in Disney are pricey at the same time though. So it could definitely be worth it as well too. Real quick, I was watching this reel the other day, and it was from some Greg, the Disney Greg who does that Park Life podcast. And he was in Hollywood Studios. He's like, recently found one of the best places to get food in Hollywood Studios. Step 1, leave the park.
Leave the park. Oh God, he's right.
I was hysterically laughing when he says, like, step 1, leave the park, get on the Skyliner, go to Riviera Resort, and then
have something
he
there.
like had this food that's at Riviera Resort. But it was so funny though. But it is true that sometimes you do find the best meals outside of the parks.
Yes.
So never discount going outside the park, especially something like Cake Bake where you can very easily walk from Epcot to Cake Bake and then go back to the park.
There's a whole slew of restaurants around there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a walk, or you could take the boat,
take the boat
and
or
still do
something.
that if you don't want to walk.
Yeah.
And there are so many nice restaurants right outside Epcot.
Again, I just thought that was so funny. He was like, step 1, leave
the
Hollywood
park.
Studios.
You know, it's a shame because a lot of people say that about Hollywood Studios, and you think that Disney would get smart and really go in there and put a nice restaurant in there.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll review something on Hollywood Studios next. But until then, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast, and we'll see you all real soon.
All right, bye-bye.